and live on WDAE. Here's an Around the League update.
Good morning, everyone. At 11 a.m., it's TKras, Tom Krasnicki here with your Around the League update presented by Rude Air Conditioning, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Well, here we are, Week 17 of the NFL. Buccaneers at 8-7, fighting for their playoff lives. They will play host to Bryce Young and the 4-11 Carolina Panthers. Everything you need to know about this matchup coming up. Countdown to kickoff following this update. Elsewhere around the NFC South, the Buccaneers are going to be watching. They need a win, and they need some help from the Washington Commanders, who at home tonight will be hosting Michael Penix Jr. and the Atlanta Falcons, who right now have the edge. Both the Falcons and the Buccaneers are 8-7. The Falcons can actually clinch the NFC South with a win tonight, plus a Buccaneer loss against the Panthers, which we don't want to see happen. Get reliable cooling and comfort installed by certified Rude Pro partner. Go to rudeacflorida.com to schedule service today. That's rudeacflorida.com, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Here we go.
Let's go, offense! Let's get this show going, man.
Hey, Tampa Bay, welcome to Game Day.
Let's do it. Calm down and ball there, boy. 1 on 3.
This is Countdown to Kickoff.
1, 2, 3.
Your live and in-depth 2-hour hold for everything you need to know on today's matchup on the gridiron. Now, it's time. Let's kick things off with your host, Tom Krasnicki.
Welcome aboard on a game day Sunday here in Tampa Bay. It is Countdown to Kickoff. TKras, Tom Krasnicki with you. Good morning. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas. Derek DeBose on the ones and the twos. He'll be with me all day long. And we are live in living color on this game day Sunday on the FM side at 95.3. The mighty AM 620. You can check us out there. And don't forget to download the iHeartRadio app. It's new and improved. Scans, presets. You can search stations from all around the country. But you really want to be searching WDAE and lock us in on your iHeartRadio app. Plug us into your Bluetooth wherever you might be headed this holiday season. And you'll be with us each and every day. We're on everywhere. Crystal clear reception through the app. It is great. And good morning to all of you on game day who are watching us. We're streaming the show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. You can like and subscribe at 953 WDAE and AM 620. So here we are. 2 weeks to go in the regular season. The Buccaneers are at home after a disappointing loss last Sunday night in Dallas. And now they do not control their own destiny. They come in at 8-7. The Atlanta Falcons are also 8-7, and the Buccaneers are going to be watching that game tonight very closely as the Falcons will visit the Commanders. Obviously, the Commanders a decided favorite in that game, but the Buccaneers can't worry about what's going on tonight. They have to handle their own business, which they failed to do last Sunday night in Dallas. A very disappointing loss at 26-24, a game in which the Buccaneers had the game ripped out of them figuratively and literally by the Dallas Cowboys. 2 costly turnovers cost the Buccaneers that game and a shot at controlling their own destiny with 2 weeks to go. Now, everyone wants to point to the defense and Todd Bowles, but here is the reality of the situation. Last week, the Buccaneer defense allowed 3 points in the second half of that game in Dallas. The offense, whether you want to admit it or not, lost that game for them with the 2 costly turnovers. Now today, the Buccaneers will take on a Carolina Panthers team that's on the upswing. They broke their losing streak with a big overtime win last week, knocking the Arizona Cardinals out of playoff contention. Bryce Young, the former number 1 overall pick, has really been playing some really good football after he was benched for the first 2 games. After the first 2 games, he was benched earlier this season. But he has come on of late, and I've watched him the last couple of weeks, and I'm telling you, he looks like an entirely different quarterback. He looks like the Bryce Young that balled out at the University of Alabama. Poise in the pocket. He looks confident. He's throwing with accuracy down the field. He's using his legs as well to make big plays. Last week, he rushed for 68 yards, including a 24-yard touchdown in that overtime win against Arizona. So he looks like a completely different quarterback. And look, you got to give credit to the former Buccaneer offensive coordinator, Dave Canales, who's now the head coach up in Carolina, for working wonders with Bryce Young. And Dave Canales may not be a really good play caller, and I think the Buccaneers have upgraded with Liam Cohen in terms of being a play caller. But you got to give Dave Canales credit because he has done a really good job in terms of resurrecting quarterbacks. He did it in Seattle with Geno Smith. He did it last year with Baker Mayfield, whom he affectionately called an optimist bully, and now he's doing it with Bryce Young. So I think Dave Canales is more of a quarterback whisperer / CEO than he is a play caller. The Buccaneers have a tremendous play caller right now, an innovator of Liam Cohen as their offensive coordinator. And all you got to do is look at the numbers. And I'm telling you, if you look at the numbers, and right now, according to the Hard Rock Bet app, the Buccaneers are a 10-point favorite today against Carolina. And when you look at the numbers, this game should not be close. The Carolina Panthers on defense, next to last in total defense. They're giving up 386 yards per game. They are absolutely dead last in stopping the run. They give up an average of 175 yards per game. And in their last 7 games, they're giving up an average of almost 200 rushing yards per game. The Buccaneers, flat out, should run roughshod over Carolina today. And the last time these two teams met, it was Bucky Irving who had 152 yards rushing. The Buccaneers should run over the Panthers today. No questions asked. And look what the Buccaneers are doing offensively under Liam Cohen. Total offense, they're 3rd in the league. Passing offense, 3rd in the league. Rushing offense, 7th in the league. And they're also in the top 5 in scoring offense. They're averaging more than 28 points per game. By the numbers, the Buccaneers should dominate the Carolina Panthers today. But a couple of weeks ago, these two teams met on December the 1st. Carolina should have won that game flat out. It took a miracle play by Anthony Nelson in stripping Chuba Hubbard in overtime in order to avoid what would have been an embarrassing loss. And Baker Mayfield did not play well that afternoon. He turned it over multiple times, but he made big plays to Mike Evans when he had to, and I think the Baker to Mike Evans combination has to be big today. Carolina is not going to have J.C. Horn, their top cover corner. He is out of this game. So if the Buccaneers are going to win this game, they got to do a couple of things. You got to score first, and we'll talk about that in a matter of moments. Baker Mayfield's got to play mistake-free football. He's got to look to Mike Evans early and often. And look, from a physical standpoint, this should be a mismatch. The Buccaneers should be able to run this football right down Carolina's throats this afternoon. And if they don't, that's a problem. And look, we all know about the problems defensively. Chuba Hubbard is out of this game for Carolina. He was placed on IR. He's not going to be able to play. So they're going to be relying on a 3rd-string running back against a Buccaneer rush defense that should be pretty solid, to be quite honest. The Bucs have to take care of business, simply put. You can't be worrying about what Atlanta does tonight. You handle your own business, then everything else should fall into place. Great to have you with us on this game day morning. A little bit later on this hour, we'll go inside the locker room with Rick Stroud. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to find out who's up, who's down. More injury concerns for the Bucs as well as the Carolina Panthers. The injury report coming up at the bottom of the hour. And then coming up 1 hour from now, just after high noon, we're going to go behind enemy lines with my guy David Newton, who covers the Carolina Panthers for ESPN and ESPN.com. He will join me here on the show. Plus, game day locks. I'm going to try and make some of you money. I like to make some money, too, on some player props you need to keep a close eye on for the Buccaneers versus the Panthers. A must-win game for Tampa Bay. Kickoff time is at 1 o'clock. The Bucs are favored by 10 points in this game here this afternoon. All right, great to have you with us. I'm going to be with you until 1 o'clock. And then a reminder, when the Buccaneer-Panthers game ends, come back to us on 95.3 FM, the mighty AM 620, also streaming through the iHeartRadio app, and you can watch a show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. I'll have the overtime show later on, immediately after the Buccaneer games ends. We've got the first word coming up in a matter of moments. You really want to know who's going to win this game today? I'm going to give you the stat when we come back in our first word segment that will tell the entire story. Could it be as simple as this? I'm going to tell you what that is coming up in 2 minutes. TKras, Tom Krasnicki with you. Happy game day. It's week 17 of the NFL. Hope you had a great Christmas. The first word is coming your way next in 2 minutes on your home of the best Bucs coverage. We are WDAE.
It's Nick Wise here talking to you about the Golden Diamond Source. The after holiday sale is happening right now. Maybe you were the fortunate one. You didn't end up broke after Christmas. You ended up with a bunch of extra cash in your pocket, and you're looking for something to spend that money on for a limited time only. Get up to 50% off everything in the store at the Golden Diamond Source. That's rings, necklaces, earrings, pendants, chains, up to 50% off everything in the store at the Golden Diamond Source. New Year's is the best time to get engaged, and where better to get that special ring than the Golden Diamond Source? That's where my wife and I got ours. They have the largest selection of engagement rings in the country. It is a jewelry super center. People drive from all over the world to go to the Golden Diamond Source. We have it right in our backyard. They got 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. And they're going to treat you like family. You can get gift cards, too. Let your special someone pick out exactly what they want. Don't forget, for the holidays only, 3 to 5 year interest-free financing. Make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source Diamond.
This month, the Tampa YMCA wants to help you find your passion. At the Y, you'll find the most innovative fitness centers, a variety of group exercise classes, and you'll discover amazing programs for kids like sports, swim lessons, and camp. Families find quality time, seniors connect with friends, and everyone belongs to an organization dedicated to serving our community. There has never been a better time to find your why. Visit TampaYMCA.org to join today.
Dear fancy gift wrappers, you continue to amaze us. No present is too large or too complicated for you. Your creativity with elaborate calligraphy is unsurpassed. Your inventive use of glitter leaves us amazed. This holiday season, you'll have your gift wrapping work cut out for you. But you can leave the big red bows to us. Get offers on select vehicles at the Lexus December to Remember sales event. Now through January 2nd. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Hey, it's Pat and Aaron from the Pat and Aaron Show. If you have an injury that requires surgery, you can feel confident that you're going to get the best results when you work with Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital, where they perform thousands of orthopedic surgical procedures every year, allowing them to be more efficient and provide better quality outcomes.
And it's so easy to book. Right now, go online to floridaortho.com or just call 1-800-FL-ORTHO to book that world-class orthopedic care right here in Tampa Bay.
Hey, you've definitely had a busy month. Finding gifts, sending cards, hosting family. Well, now it's time to treat yourself at Macy's After Christmas Sale. Come and find great deals on something just for you. Like 25% off New Year's party looks from DKNY, Adriana Papel, and more. So enjoy the week and get yourself the gifts you really wanted before these limited time deals are over. At Macy's After Christmas Sale. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Pewter points. The Buccaneers and Panthers have been NFC South rivals since 2002. While the Panthers lead the all-time series, Tampa Bay has taken control in recent years, including 2 wins last season with a win earlier this year in Carolina. The prep is done. Game plan installed.
1, 2, 3.
Let's kick off the coverage. This is The First Word, presented by Moss Nissan, live on Countdown to Kickoff.
Fast starts are a huge part, especially for us. We got to get off to a fast start. I think we can come from behind, but when you get out and you get a lead early and you're able to pad that lead, it helps you play a little better.
Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers are looking to start fast this afternoon against the 4-11 Carolina Panthers. Welcome back. It is Countdown to Kickoff. Great to have you with us on this game day here in Tampa Bay. Tom Krasnicki with you. We'll try and take some of your phone calls at 888-546-4620 and text at 82945. It is the First Word segment presented by Moss Nissan. Could today's game be as simple as this? Score first, and the Bucs win. When they don't, they lose. When the Buccaneers score first this season, they're 8-1. When the Buccaneers don't score first, as you saw last week in Dallas, guess what? They're 0-6. So, if Carolina scores first Hey, goodbye, everybody. Have a good one. It's not as simple as that. Maybe, maybe not. Although the numbers do bore it out, the Bucs have to get off to a good start because when their opponent scores first, they haven't won a game this season. And Carolina's playing with a lot of confidence. And like the Buccaneers, they've got some injuries. Chuba Hubbard out, J.C. Horn out. We've got the injury report coming up in about 15 minutes. For the Buccaneers, they've got some injuries too. Cade Otton out again. I think the Buccaneers are going to miss him. Chris Izien out on IR. Antoine Winfield Jr. out again. So the defense, especially right down the middle of the field, which has been vulnerable, will be vulnerable again today. Adam Thielen has been a favorite target of Bryce Young's. You got Jalen Coker. He's looking to establish himself. Look, there are a bunch of young guys on this Carolina Panthers team who are looking to establish themselves, who want to etch their spot and solidify their spot for next year. So they want nothing more than to spoil the Buccaneers and their playoff hopes today. And Bryce Young is really playing at a high level. And he's starting to come along, and you can thank Dave Canales for that. And the Buccaneers are going to have to be ready for his ability to extend plays, use his legs, and he's been throwing downfield with a lot of accuracy. And Thielen is a guy that he's going to be looking for a lot, as well as Jalen Coker and Tommy Tremble and the rest of this receiving core. I'm not sure if the Panthers are going to be able to run the ball, but if you're the Buccaneers, you're pretty good at doing that. You just have to limit the big play down the field, and you got to find a way to generate some sort of pass rush. And to that point, by the way, welcome back to Tampa Bay, Shaq Barrett. And we kind of thought that this was going to happen, I don't know, about a month ago. I got this feeling that Shaq wanted to come back here. He was lobbying to the Dolphins to release him, to come out of retirement so that he can find this place. And from the information that I got from a couple of different sources, he desperately wanted to come back here. He loved it here. He was very upset when the Buccaneers cut ties with him a couple of years ago. And I don't know what kind of shape he's in. He's not going to play today, but it's on the table for him maybe to play in Week 18. So that's something to keep an eye on, but it's great to have him back. And the reason why the Buccaneers brought him back is because their edge rushers are not getting any heat on the quarterback. Yaya Diaby, and I don't know if it's a high ankle sprain, he's got 2.5 sacks. The edge rushers combined altogether have 7.5 sacks. So when you look at the Buccaneers and what they're doing in terms of the pass rush, they've got 39 sacks as a team, but a lot of the pressure that they're generating has come through the blitz. Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea, your two inside guys, are your two leading sackers. Kancey leads the team with 6.5 sacks. Vita Vea, who's playing at a dominant level, by the way, he's got 6 sacks. Levante David is next, your inside linebacker, at 5.5 sacks. And usually it's the guy coming in off the edge is your leading sacker. That's not the case with this Buccaneer team. The edge guys have not gotten it done. Look, Anthony Nelson made a big play in overtime at Carolina a couple of weeks ago. He's got 3 sacks. Yaya Diaby's got 2.5 sacks. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka's got 2 sacks. So therein lies the problem. That's why Shaq Barrett is back here. And look, I don't know what kind of football shape he's in. Obviously, he's not in football shape. But I think it was worth a chance and worth a flyer because the Bucs along the edge are not generating enough pressure. They're pushing the pocket, but nobody's coming in from the outside. And that's going to be critical today against Bryce Young, who will extend plays with his legs and get out and run with it, or use that pinpoint accuracy and make plays down the field. So the edge guys, Anthony Nelson, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Yaya Diaby, they've got to do a better job of, holding the edge, making sure that Bryce Young doesn't get outside of the pocket. First Word, presented by Moss Nissan. Their goal is to never lose your business over price. We're going to find out who's up, who's down in about 10 minutes. When we come back, we're going to go inside the spin zone. And believe it or not, the Buccaneers are in a helpless situation today. We'll explain why coming up in 2 minutes here on Countdown to Kickoff. Good morning.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-529-2856. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-529-2856. That's 800-529-2856 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-529-2856. 800-529-2856.
When it comes to making fantasy picks on your favorite players, you want excitement, but you also want a platform you can trust. Better Picks is available in over 30 states. So if you're hearing this, it's probably available for you.
Better Picks is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Just pick more or less on your favorite player stats and put your skills to the test.
With Better Picks, you get the thrill of playing for up to 1,000 times your cash. So go ahead, make your picks and play for big wins with super fast payouts and withdrawals.
Go to betterpicks.com, BETRpicks.com, or download Better on the app or Play Store. And use promo code RADIO to play for up to 1,000 times your cash. Plus, new users get up to a $200 match on their first deposit. And join thousands playing across the U.S.
Must be 21 or older and in a jurisdiction where Better Picks operates. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned with your play? Call the NCPG at 1-800-522-4700.
Spend time where it matters most this holiday season and sell your home fast with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Hi, it's Aaron Jacobson here, and don't worry about showings, open houses, or spending money on costly repairs. The guaranteed offer allows you to bypass the market and receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days. One of their clients, Tom, said, Mark Spain Real Estate sold my home quickly and for more than we expected. The entire process was easy and stress-free. I highly recommend Mark Spain Real Estate. If you're looking for a hassle-free experience like Tom's that makes you the most money, my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate make selling your home simple. With over 12,500 five-star reviews, Mark Spain Real Estate knows what matters most: a quick sale and maximum profit. Selling your home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll make, so who you work with matters. Trust the most experienced real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Countdown to Kickoff rolls on. Let's return to your host, Tom Krasnicki, live on WDAE and streaming live on the free iHeartRadio app. The talk is over. The hype is done. Let's look into the future. Time for the Spin Zone, live on Countdown to Kickoff.
From here on out, yeah, obviously not the scenario we want to be in, but still have to take care of business. Obviously some things have to happen, but if we don't take care of business, that's the mentality. It's got to start there and got to do our job, little details and everything that's included in that to try and find a way to win.
Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers do not control their playoff destiny heading into today's game against Carolina. They need help. Welcome inside the Spin Zone. TKras, Tom Krasnicki with you. It is Countdown to Kickoff, getting you set for all things Buccaneers and Panthers. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff time at Raymond James Stadium. Some rain could be moving in at some point this afternoon, so we'll have to watch that. The weather update is coming up a little bit later on in this hour. And yeah, right now the Buccaneers are at 8-7. The Falcons are at 8-7. Falcons winning last week, Buccaneers losing, so both teams tied for first place in the NFC South. And right now, look, it's a 50-50 proposition, believe it or not. The Falcons have a 50% chance to win this division. Buccaneers, 50% chance. Buccaneers have a 56% chance of making the playoffs. Falcons are at 50-50 for the division, 50-50 for the playoffs as well. There is a scenario where the Buccaneers can make the playoffs without winning the NFC South. And they can do that if they win their last 2 games. And the Commanders lose their last 2 games. Remember, Buccaneers beat them back in week 1. So there is another way to back your way in if you can't win this division for whatever reason. So just keep that in mind. But look, all of that is obsolete if the Buccaneers don't find a way to beat Carolina today. They got to do it. And they've got a physical mismatch in the trenches when it comes to this Buccaneer offensive line, which is playing at a really high level against this Carolina defensive front, which can't stop anybody on the ground. They are dead last in the NFL in rush defense. And when these teams met about a month ago, back on December the 1st, the Buccaneers ran for 236 yards. Look, I expect something similar. You better run this team over. Bucky Irving, 25 for 152 and a touchdown in that overtime win at Carolina. I think the Buccaneers need more of the same out of Bucky. And Rachaad White, who lost another fumble last week, he's got to hold on to the ball. Rachaad White was pretty good that day as well. 11 carries for 76 yards. And they're going to need more of that from him, but you got to take care of the football. Baker Mayfield turned it over 3 times that day. You got to cut out the turnovers. If you cut out the turnovers, the Buccaneers should win this game going away, hands down. But as we know, look, I think the Buccaneers are right around a 500-ish team. Todd Bowles' first year, 8-9. Last year, 9-8. What are they now? 8-7. I had them at 9-8 based on recent history and the track record. And they appear to be on that 9-8 trajectory unless the Buccaneers score first today and take care of the football. Simply put. All right, when we come back, we're going to go inside the huddle. What are the Buccaneers up against today with this surging Carolina Panthers squad? I'll tell you about it in 2 minutes right here on Countdown to Kickoff on your home of the best Bucs coverage. We are WDAE.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Tampa. Some things in life you can just rely on, like the faithful friend who always comes when you call, your fishing buddies, and the tried and true performance of a new Ruud home AC system. So here's to reliability, built into everything we do. Rely on Ruud. Get reliable cooling and comfort installed by a certified Ruud Pro partner. Go to RuudACFlorida.com to schedule service with a Ruud Pro partner today. That's RuudACFlorida.com. Powered locally by Ferguson HVAC.
TKras here for my friends over at Green Tech Roofing and Solar. Get your home ready for the holidays, and my guys over at Green Tech can help you do it. Locally owned, licensed, and trusted by the Tampa Bay community. They helped me out right after the hurricane. They can help you out as well. Over 400 5-star reviews. They do commercial, they do residential, they do great work in total. So hit on them, greentechroofing.com. You can schedule your free roof inspection. Tell them TKras sent you. Green Tech Roofing and Solar, the #1 roofing solution in Tampa Bay.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Pewter points. Did you know the Buccaneers are one of the top teams in the NFL for stopping the run? With stars like Levante David and Vita Vea, they've turned run defense into an art. Watch them shut down the Panthers' ground game today. Swipe on the eye black and strap on your helmet. Let's get inside the huddle.
Top flight on 3. 1, 2, 3, top flight.
Presented by Green Tech Roofing and Solar. Live on Countdown to Kickoff.
It should be good. Get a second time playing them, so just watch the film from last game. You know, won't switch up too much and just get a head start.
Jordan Whitehead and the Buccaneers will get another shot at the Carolina Panthers. That was an overtime thriller from a couple of weeks ago. The Buccaneers managed to survive 26-23. The Panthers looking for some revenge here this afternoon. Buccaneers and the Panthers, a 1 o'clock kick at Raymond James Stadium. We welcome you back. It is Inside the Huddle, presented by my friends over at Green Tech Roofing and Solar, the #1 roofing solution in Tampa Bay. They offer free inspection. So you heard Jordan Whitehead there. The Buccaneers have designated him to return from IR. The Bucs could use all sorts of help on the back end. No Antoine Winfield. Chris Izzian went on IR as well. You know the Buccaneers have been vulnerable down the middle of the field. Adam Thielen may not be the separator, but I'll tell you what, man, he runs really good routes. He's a very smart player, and he's a guy who had 8 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown the first time these two teams met. And Bryce Young is playing like a much more confident quarterback. He doesn't look like the guy that looked lost his first 2 weeks of the season, and then the Panthers benched him, and then they went back to him, and now he looks like a completely different player. And the Bucs have to be really mindful of what this young man can do in terms of his accuracy in the pocket and his ability to extend plays. So, this should be a really interesting matchup. This Buccaneer defense did a better job last week after halftime because Dallas really was going up and down the field in the first half. In the second half, the Buccaneer defense held them to 3 points. Everyone wants to blame Todd Bowles, but the offense lost that game last week, not the defense. The defense got off the field. They were forcing the Cowboys to punt, and you had 2 critical turnovers, 2 balls that were ripped away from 2 very young players, and Jalen McMillan, the rookie, who's come on strong, but you can't let the DB take that ball away from you. Same thing with Rashad White on the final drive of the game. Those are 2 young players that right now don't really understand the enormity of the situation. And maybe they'll learn from it, but you had your lunch money taken from you. That is the only accurate axiom that I can think of. Don't let them do it. You take care of the ball, you should win. That's simple. You score first, you should win. Is it that simple with this team? They make it a lot more difficult than it really has to be. Inside the Huddle, presented by my guy, John Franco, his amazing team at Green Tech Roofing and Solar. This is Smart Roofing, greentechroofing.com. All right, when we come back, who's up, who's down? The injury report is out. I'm going to let you know who's going to play, who's not going to play for this Buccaneers-Panthers game, and it's coming up in 2 minutes. Stick around.
If you're thinking about selling your home, take advantage of the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Sell your home hassle-free and end the year with extra cash in your pocket this holiday season. Hi, it's Aaron Jacobson, and I'm here with my friend Mark Spain. And Mark, some have said the guaranteed offer seems too good to be true. How are you able to provide the strongest cash offer in the industry and eliminate all the stress for the home seller?
The guaranteed offer eliminates the stress by skipping costly repairs, home inspections, open houses, lock boxes. There's no fixing any leaky faucets or having strangers traipsing through your home. You avoid all the hassles of a traditional home sale when you choose the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. It's really simple. It's all cash, no contingencies, quick closing.
Thanks, Mark. Whether you're hosting family gatherings or enjoying cozy nights at home this December, you can skip all the stress of a traditional home sale and spend your time with those who matter most. Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. Go to markspain.com and find out what your guaranteed offer will be. There's no obligation. That's markspain.com and start packing.
Since 1985, Bates Electric has proudly served as Tampa's premier electrical contractor. As a veteran-owned and operated company, we bring a commitment to excellence in both commercial and residential projects. Our 24/7 Gold service is Tampa's most recommended electric contractor. Our dedicated electricians prioritize quality workmanship and unparalleled client communication, ensuring your project is on time and completed to perfection. See why our clients rave about Bates Electric.
Power on, power on, power on, Bates Electric. Power on. St. Pete Clearwater is still shining. The sun is out, the weather feels just right, and we're ready to welcome you back to the vibrant Gulf Coast. Feel the holiday cheer while cheering on college football teams on Sunday, December 29th at the ReliaQuest Bowl Beach Day at Hilton Clearwater Beach. Join Michigan and Alabama for a fun-filled day of live music, skydivers, and festive competitions. Save 30% or more on select hotels and attractions at stillshiningdeals.com. Brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, home to America's favorite beaches.
Streaming on iHeartRadio and live on WDAE. Here's an Around the League update.
And it's brought to you by Root Air Conditioning, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. We're 90 minutes away from kickoff at Raymond James Stadium. Must-win game for the Buccaneers. They'll take on the Carolina Panthers. The Buccaneers do not control their own destiny. They need a win and some help tonight from the Washington Commandos, who are home for the Atlanta Falcons. But there is another scenario. The Buccaneers could get in as the 7th wild card. If they win their last 2 games and the Commandos lose their last 2 games, then there's a way in as a wild card. But you want to be able to get in as a division champ. It would be the 4th year in a row. Plus, you would get to host a playoff game. Falcons at the Commanders tonight on Sunday Night Football. Get reliable cooling and comfort installed by certified Root Pro partner. Go to rootacflorida.com to schedule service today. That's rootacflorida.com, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC.
Back to Countdown to Kickoff. Streaming live on Alexa and the free iHeartRadio app. Here's Tom Krasnick. The inactives are out. Here's today's injury report. Presented by Tampa General Hospital in partnership with the Florida Orthopedic Institute. Live on Countdown to Kickoff.
Welcome back. Countdown to Kickoff is on the air. TKras with you, getting you set for the Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. A 1 o'clock kick at Raymond James Stadium. The injury update brought to you by the Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital. Cade Otton is out with that knee injury, so he is out. Sterling Shepard is out because of an injury. He's inactive. Antoine Winfield Jr., knee injury. He is inactive. So those 3 are out due to injury. And then you have Shaq Barrett, who was recently signed over the weekend. He is inactive. He's not ready to play. Maybe next week. Michael Pratt is also inactive. Jose Ramirez inactive as well. Who is active? Deion Jones, remember? The Buccaneers signed him a couple of weeks ago, the linebacker, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons. So he is active, so we'll see what kind of playing time he gets today. And Jordan Whitehead is also going to be out there. He was active for this game. I mean, they brought him back off IR. He practiced during the week, so hopefully he can help this Buccaneer defense, which has been lit up and vulnerable right down the middle of the field. Chris Izziano is on injured reserve, so he is out of this game as well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So no Winfield, no Izzian, but they do have Jordan Whitehead back on the field for this game here this afternoon. For the Carolina Panthers, they've got a number of key injuries here this afternoon. J.C. Horn is inactive because of a hip injury. That's big because, Mike Evans, who even with J.C. Horn in there, had 8 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown a couple of weeks ago when these 2 teams met in Carolina. But now J.C. Horn is out. Mike Evans could be in line for a big game here this afternoon. Josie Jewell, really talented linebacker, is also out, as well as Devin Tompkins, a former Buccaneer, and Taylor Moton, the starting right tackle. He's out of this game due to injury, so that's a key loss. So the Carolina Panthers are down a number of players, as well as Chuba Hubbard. Their running back, he was placed on IR a couple of days ago. He is out of this game, too, for Carolina. Key loss there. The injury update presented by Tampa General Hospital in partnership with the Florida Orthopedic Institute. They provide you access to one of the top orthopedic programs in the nation. Schedule an appointment today at FloridaOrtho.com. All right, when we come back here on Countdown to Kickoff, we're going to tell you more about this matchup. Don't forget, coming up in a few minutes, we'll also go to Raymond James Stadium. We'll go inside the locker room with Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times and TampaBay.com. And then just after high noon, we're going to go behind enemy lines with David Newton, who covers the Panthers for ESPN and ESPN.com. So stand by for that. But up next, can the Buccaneers hold on to the ball today? That's been a hot topic of conversation. I'll tell you about it in 2 minutes here on Countdown to Kickoff.
Football's heating up. The NBA is back. And on Hard Rock Bet, you can bet every sport. Even combine all your sports into one bet. One Florida bettor put $50 on a combo parlay and won more than $100,000. And they tacked on another $10,000 to that win with a daily profit boost. Promos every day for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Life is so confusing. I wish I had someone to talk to about tough stuff. I've heard that drinking is bad, but I don't really know why. Not a lot of my friends do it, but the media makes it seem like all teenagers drink and do drugs. Talk to me, Mom. I can handle it. I'm in it to win it.
For tips to start the talk, turn to Central Florida Behavioral Health Network at cfbhn.org. Central Florida Behavioral Health Network is a managing entity contracted with the Department of Children and Families.
Football season is in full swing, but are you making your picks with Sleeper? Just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and you could win up to 100 times your money. For a limited time, Sleeper has a special offer. New users just have to play $5, and they'll receive $55 in free entries. Just download the Sleeper app today and use code HOLIDAY, and you'll get $55 in free entries when you play $5. That's code HOLIDAY. Must be at least 18 years old. Promo code, location, and other restrictions apply. Minimum deposit, $25. See terms of use for details. Please play responsibly. Call 1-800-426-2537 for help.
If you're looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, we're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. Prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Pewter points. The Buccaneers have 2 home games remaining on their 2024 regular season schedule and likely need to win them both to make the playoffs for a 5th straight year. The Panthers will come to town today trying to play spoiler. This is Countdown to Kickoff.
Next ran to Jay's run now.
Now let's get back to TKras live on WDAE and streaming live on the free iHeartRadio app.
I think you look at that last play and you say, maybe ball security might be a little bit of an issue there where, he's trying to make a play in what we would call, almost desperation time. It was a, off-schedule, scramble-ish type play that he gets it to him. He's fighting for extra yards. The ball's out here, and he never gets it back into his body. So, we practice ball security. We talk about it. It's part of our core fundamental values on offense, and right now it's not showing up.
Buccaneer offensive coordinator Liam Cohen talking about the turnovers which plagued the Buccaneers last week. He was referencing the final turnover, the Rachaad White play where he had the ball ripped out of his hands by Deron Bland, and that pretty much put the game on ice for the Dallas Cowboys. A bitterly disappointing loss. We welcome you back. It is Countdown to Kickoff. Great to have you with us here on a game day, getting you set for all things Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers here on your home of the best Bucs coverage, WDAE. So, 2 big turnovers last week. Baker Mayfield threw a couple of interceptions. The last time these 2 teams played in Carolina was the overtime win by the Buccaneers, thanks to babyface Anthony Nelson, the linebacker who stripped Chuba Hubbard. Carolina was working into field goal range, if you remember, and they were setting up a potential game-winning field goal. And Anthony Nelson saved the day, and at the time, maybe even the season. The Bucs have to find a way to do more of that here today and moving forward. They have to force turnovers, and they have to stop giving it away. And if you look at the turnover differential department, the Buccaneers are at -4. They've given it away 22 times, and they've forced just 18 takeaways, just 7 interceptions, which is something that Todd Bowles wants to see his team improve upon. And then you look at the Carolina Panthers and what they've done in the turnover department. They are -6, so these 2 teams are combined -10. Buccaneers -4, Carolina -6. So The turnover department is obviously going to play a very big factor. If you're the Buccaneers, don't give it away. If you take care of the ball, you should be able to physically dominate this team with your running game and your O-line. And if you score first, that will only help your matters here. We're going to take some of your phone calls at 888-546-4620. We have primetime games coming up, and just after the top of the hour, we're going to go behind enemy lines with David Newton, who covers the Carolina Panthers for ESPN and ESPN.com. He's going to be with us as well. And when we come back, we're going to go inside the locker room. We'll head to Raymond James Stadium. Could weather be a factor? If the Buccaneers lose one of these last two games or both of them, could Todd Bowles very much be on the hot seat? And what about the Buccaneers going up against Dave Canales once again and their injury issues? Lots of questions. We'll get some answers. Rick Stroud is standing by. Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com. We'll go inside the locker room with him coming up next here on Countdown to Kickoff.
Tampa, the biggest play of the year is happening now. Toyotathon at Stadium Toyota. It's your chance to score big with year-end savings on all your favorite Toyota models. Drive home in a new Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma with low financing rates, huge trade-in offers, and exclusive year-end incentives. These deals are the MVPs of the season, but like the game clock, they won't.
Rolls on. Let's return to your host, Tom Krasnicki, live on WDAE and streaming live on the free iHeartRadio app. The insight, the analysis, and opinion for your ears only.
Let's go now, huh? All right, now let's pick it up. Let's go, man. All right, now.
Let's dive inside the locker room with Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Presented by Reese Windows and Doors. Live on Countdown to Kickoff.
Welcome back. Countdown to Kickoff is on the air. Good morning. Hope all of you had a wonderful Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you, and best wishes for a healthy and happy 2025. TKras, Tom Krasnicki with you, getting you set for the Buccaneers and the Panthers, a 1 o'clock kick at Raymond James Stadium. And let's go to Ray J right now inside the locker room with Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times and TampaBay.com. You can read them there, presented by Reese Windows and Doors. And Rick joins us here on a game day. Rick, hope you had a great Christmas. How are you, my friend?
I did. Same to you, and let me be the first to wish you a Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you as well, Rick Stroud. And let's talk about this Bucs-Panthers matchup. You had the story at TampaBay.com. Look who's back in Tampa Bay, Shaq Barrett. He managed to unretire. He got out of Miami, and now the reunion has been complete. So what can you tell us about this reunion, and when might we see him on the field?
Well, it won't be today. I think that would have been a little difficult since he didn't get with the team until Saturday. Not that he doesn't know the defense, but he's not in football shape. We all know that. Let's see if he can get in the final regular season game, assuming it matters a lot. And, I think just in talking to the Bucs, this was a very emotional sort of reunion. And, we remember, of course, Shaq did so much here when he was a Buccaneer. They decided not to re-sign him. He signs with Miami and then retires maybe a day or so before training camp. And then, it's taken him about a month to get his release from the Dolphins. And I just feel like, look, it's no secret the Bucs have trouble rushing off the edge. If he can give you something, even in the postseason, if you get there, that's going to be a big bonus for you. And the other thing is, too, he had options. There were some teams that were interested in Shaq Barrett. So if you're the Bucs and you think you're going to make the postseason, or at least hope so, do you want to be facing him in Detroit or Philadelphia or wherever? So I think, some of that played into it as well. But there's no question that this is where he wanted to be. Me and you talked about that. I didn't think that it was going to happen because a month ago they had no conversations with Drew Rosenhaus or anything like that. But everything changes. And, again, there's just a deep personal ties. And what this organization did to support him, his family during the loss of his daughter was a big factor in all of this.
It sure was, and it's great to see him back here. He's a wonderful man as well. And part of the issue why he's back here, Rick, has to speak to the lack of production in terms of the outside edge rushers. Yaya Diaby, just 2.5 sacks. He's been disappointing this year. Anthony Nelson made the big play in Carolina. He's got 3 sacks. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, just 2.5 sacks. I mean, those 3 guys combined have 7.5 sacks, and that's, the main reason why they decided to take a flyer on Shaq Barrett, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, you hope that, a year away from an Achilles injury that he's got a little bit of a burst. Certainly he's always been a, guy that uses his hands very well. He just knows how to get off blocks and make plays on the quarterback. And, it's really, it's been hard to figure out why they haven't had more success off the edge. And none of those guys are established. We saw Yaya Diaby last year lead the team with 7.5 sacks, and he did most of that the second half of the season. But he's getting a lot more attention now because there isn't anybody on the other side that's really much of a threat. And, I think that, especially when you look at what Kalijah Cansey and Yaya and Vita Vea have done inside, it should be easier for those guys to get one-on-one matchups and have the quarterback not be able to step up and therefore has to step outside of the pocket. And they should have been getting these guys on the ground, but it just hasn't happened.
Rick Stroud is with me inside the locker room at Ray J for the Buccaneers-Panthers game at 1 o'clock. And, look, those outside guys have to do a good job of, containing Bryce Young, who has really done a great job, Rick. He looks like a completely different quarterback and player. He looks confident. He looks accurate. He's using his legs to extend plays. I think Dave Canales has done a really good job. So talk about the challenge of defending Bryce Young today.
Yeah, well, he's done a lot more with his legs of late. They've run the ball very well, and they're not going to have Chuba Hubbard, which is huge for the Panthers and should help the Bucs. But we've seen when you have that dual threat, Philadelphia obviously is a different team with Saquon Barkley if Jalen Hurts is in the lineup. When he went out of the lineup last week, they kind of shut down Saquon Barkley. So it's similar in that sense that he ran for 60-something yards a week ago. He's playing with a whole lot of confidence. He looks like a different quarterback. You can tell by the body language. The game has slowed down for him. And, Dave is one of those guys, as you mentioned earlier, Baker Mayfield said he calls him an optimist bully because he's just so positive and he's genuinely that way every day. And I think over the course of a season, that has really helped Bryce. And he's playing good football right now. So, he can hurt you in a lot of different ways. The Bucs have had trouble at times with quarterbacks that can run. And so that's going to be a big thing to do today is not just stop the passing game, but also contain him when he decides to carry it.
And another big key offensively, and this is crazy to me, Rick, when they score first, they're 8-1. When the opponent scores first, they're 0-6. So is it that simple? The Buccaneers have to score first here today?
Well, if it were that simple, then yeah, you just end the game after the first drive. And remember now they've had 6 games, I think 6 or 7 games where they've actually scored a touchdown on their opening drive, and that's what you want to do. I've always said this, games have momentum and seasons have momentum. They got to recapture that momentum, after the loss last week, and they're going to need help, obviously. But I think when you start a game fast, it does a lot of things. It gives you confidence, obviously. It puts the other team a little bit in the defensive mode and they're on their heels somewhat. And then your defense can also be more aggressive, when you have a lead. So that's always the key. You always want to start fast, especially at home. And the games they've done that all except for the Ravens. They were up 10-0 against Baltimore, and then they just took off on offense against them. But that's the only game they've lost. And yeah, they haven't come from behind. They haven't been well behind. And we talked to Liam Cohen. He says, I still think if we get behind in a game, we're not going to just pack it in. We think we can come back. But that's certainly the game plan today is get a lead on these guys, make them realize they're the Carolina Panthers, and get the job done today, and then hope tonight you get some help from Washington.
And the Bucs offense, look, their offensive line, Rick, and you wrote about it at TampaBay.com. I mean, they're playing right now at a really high level. They rushed for 236 yards the last time these two teams met. Carolina dead last in the NFL against the run. So the Bucs have to be really, really physical at the point of the attack. And, Bucky Irving had a great game, too, the first time out, right?
He did. He's had a great season. He could go over 1,000 yards today. Be the first guy to do that since Doug Martin, if you can believe that. It's been quite a number of years, but I think, last week, obviously the turnovers is something you cannot have in this game, and they've had far too many of them this year. A couple of weird ones last week, of course, in the end zone with James McMillan and whatnot. But I thought Dave Canales didn't start running the football in Dallas the way he should have. Dallas is 31st against the run, and the Bucs ran it, I think, 11 or 12 times. They were averaging close to 6 yards a carry. But today, I think, is a day that, you let Bucky Irving, Rashad White, maybe even Sean Tucker control this game. And if you're Baker Mayfield, take the check downs. Don't run around and take a bunch of sacks. You don't need negative plays against this football team. You certainly can't turn it over like they did in Carolina when they got off to that start. So, that'll be the key. But, yeah, they should have a lot of success running the ball. The weather seems like it's going to hold up at least through this game. So there's no excuses for them not to have a big rushing day.
And talk to us about Todd Bowles and where his status might be at this point. I mean, if they lose one of these last two games, I think if they lose both games, I think there's a conversation to be had. But the pressure's on, isn't it?
I think the pressure's on every week for every coach in the NFL. I mean, tell me who's safe, right? You're going to see there's already 3 jobs open now. There'll probably be somewhere between 7 or 8, maybe even more than that. That's just life in the National Football League, and it's a "what have you done for me lately" league. Certainly, if you're talking about a guy that if they're able to win this division, that would be 3 in a row. I've been here a while. I haven't seen that ever happen, right, as in ever. And you can nitpick with the records. They're in the NFC South. That's the division they play in. They can't do anything about what the records are of the other teams. But I know this, that we're going to have probably a lot of discussions about what's going to happen with Todd Bowles. What about Liam Cohen? How can they keep him here? I've written about that in the Tampa Bay Times on TampaBay.com. There's no question he's going to get attention. So all those things are discussions, but I know the Glazer family pretty well, and their method of operation is they want all the information, right? We're still 2 games in this season before the postseason. If they get in there, that's a home playoff game. There's a long way to go. Owners like those home playoff games, by the way, Tom. Mm-hmm. I just think you got to pump the brakes on this thing, and also consider this. This is an injured football team. I mean, everybody raps on the defense, and sure, that makes sense. But if you look at who they've not played with this year, the number of games missed by Antoine Winfield Jr. and Jordan Whitehead, and all these guys. Levante Davis has been the only inside linebacker on 25 plays a game for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So, it's very difficult to not have your guys. It's no excuse. Nobody cares. But this is the second youngest team in the league. And, you got the players are the players, and they got to make the plays. So we'll see when all that happens. But there's no question these last 2 weeks for every coach in the NFL are going to be very, very important.
He's Rick Stroud. You can read him, Tampa Bay Times, also at TampaBay.com, covering the game today for the Times. And, Rick, we appreciate it. Have a wonderful new year, and enjoy the game today, my friend.
We'll do. Happy year, man. Happy New Year. See you.
You got it. That's Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com. Inside the Locker Room, presented by Reese Windows and Doors. You can win $15,000 in free windows right now. Here's what you have to do. Text the word HAPPY. Text HAPPY to 20129. Happy, as in Happy New Year or Merry New Year. All right, coming up, primetime games, the games the Buccaneers are going to be watching very, very closely because they
Five points. The games that matter from around the National Football League. Here's your slate of primetime games presented by California Closets Tampa Bay. Live on Countdown to Kickoff.
All right, welcome back. It is Countdown to Kickoff. Great to have you with us. Primetime games presented by my guys over at California Closets of Tampa Bay. My guys Kenny and the rest of his team. They are awesome. You can organize and upgrade your living space with California Closets. Your garage, your closet, your pantry, your entertainment center. They're awesome. Head there. CaliforniaClosetsTampaBay.com for inspiration. So the Bucs have to take care of their own business, but believe you me, they're going to have their eye toward tonight's game in Landover, Maryland, between the 10-5 Washington Commanders and the 8-7 Atlanta Falcons. It'll be the first road start for Tampa Bay's own Michael Penix Jr., the Falcons quarterback. He started last week, looked pretty good, showed a lot of poise. It also helped that he was aided by 2 defensive touchdowns against a terrible Giants team, and that Bijan Robinson is in his backfield. I think he's going to lean a lot on Bijan Robinson tonight. And look, the Falcons may very well take the field knowing that with the win, they could clinch the NFC South. In order for that to happen, the Bucs would have to lose and the Falcons would have to win. The Buccaneers cannot clinch the NFC South today or tonight, but the Falcons can because they have the tiebreaker advantage. So that's something to keep in mind. Of course, the Buccaneers would love a Commanders win, but there is a scenario that 2 Bucs wins and 2 Commanders losses would get the Buccaneers in as the 7th wild card. So there is another path to the postseason. So we'll keep an eye on that, but everyone's going to be watching that game closely tonight. Primetime games presented by California Closets of Tampa Bay. Organize and upgrade your living space with California Closets. Head there, CaliforniaClosetSTampaBay.com for inspiration. All right, 1 week come back. Another Around the League update, which you know I love. And then on the other side, we're going to go behind enemy lines and take a look at what Dave Canales is doing with the former number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young. What are the Panthers thinking after they lost that game in overtime to the Buccaneers? What's their mindset today? We're going to go behind enemy lines. He covers the Carolina Panthers for ESPN and ESPN.com. David Newton will join.
Heart Radio Station. Streaming on iHeartRadio and live on WDAE. Here's an Around the League update.
And it's brought to you by Root Air Conditioning, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. We're less than an hour away from kickoff at Raymond James Stadium. Buccaneers at 8-7, a must-win game against the 4-11 Carolina Panthers. Shaq Barrett, who was just signed, inactive for the game. We did not expect him to play here today, but it's on the table for next week's game against the Saints. Antoine Winfield Jr., Sterling Shepard, Kadon, they are all out due to injury. Chris Isian was placed on IR, so the Buccaneers continue to be banged up. As for Carolina, they've got some injuries too. Also going on IR, running back Chuba Hubbard, defensive back J.C. Horn. He's out of this game as well, so it could be another big game for Mike Evans, who had 8 for 118 and a touchdown the first time these two teams met a couple of weeks ago. Of course, tonight the Falcons visit the Commanders, a game of significant importance for the Buccaneers as well. Get reliable cooling and comfort installed by certified Root Pro Partner. Go to rootacflorida.com to schedule service today. That's rootacflorida.com, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC.
Back to Countdown to Kickoff. Streaming live on Alexa and the free iHeartRadio app. Here's Tom Krasnicki. Driving into today's opponent. Let's begin our march across enemy lines. Live on Countdown to Kickoff.
Hi, welcome back. Countdown to Kickoff is on the air. Great to have you with us. TKras, Tom Krasnicki with you. Derek DeBose on the ones and the twos. Happy game day. We're getting you set for the Buccaneers and the Panthers. A 1 o'clock kick at Raymond James Stadium. Everything you need to know about this matchup coming your way all the way up until the 1 o'clock kickoff. And let's go behind enemy lines right now. He's joining us. Longtime friend of the program. Does a great job of covering the Carolina Panthers for ESPN and ESPN.com. David Newton is with us here on Countdown to Kickoff. Happy holidays, David. How are you, man?
Doing great. Happy holidays to you guys.
Great to have you with us. Let's talk about this Carolina team. A big overtime win last week. And it's amazing to me, and I've watched Bryce Young play the last couple of weeks. He looks like a completely different player, David. Obviously, you watch him up close and personal each and every day. He looks confident. He looks accurate. So what's been the key to his turnaround?
You know, it's kind of crazy that you go back to the car wreck that Andy Dalton had because, you know, Bryce spent, 4 or 5 weeks watching Andy play, trying to digest all he could from his knowledge. But then had it not been for that car crash and Andy having to sit out for at least one game, I don't know if Bryce ever would have gotten another chance. But when he did, he made the most of it. And you can see that confidence, that decisiveness more than anything. And I think you see it not only in the passing game, but in the running game. And he's making throws that we hadn't seen him make in NFL yet. You have to go back to Alabama to see the throws that he's making now. And what really impresses me, though, is just like when his reads, when it's not there and he sees the lane to run, he'll take off running. And he's become a threat. I mean, he had a 23-yard touchdown run last week and a 34-yard run, I guess, too. So he's really matured in all aspects of the game and playing to me like a guy that has a future in the NFL.
He certainly does. And I think you hit it right there. And we talked about this earlier. He looks like the Bryce Young who was a dominant player at Alabama. And Dave Canales certainly has a lot to do with it, right? He did it in Seattle with Geno Smith. He did it here last year with Baker Mayfield. And now he's doing it with Bryce Young, isn't he?
He is. It's a little different with Bryce because he had veterans in his other situation, and turning them around was probably it wasn't the same situation. I mean, they had a wealth of knowledge from years in the NFL when he took over Baker, and that really helped. So what he's done with Bryce, to me, has actually been more impressive because Bryce was pretty shaken. I mean, he almost had no choice but to bench him after those first 2 games. He was playing so poorly, and it was a tough decision for him, and it ultimately, I think it's going to shape the future of this organization.
David Newton is with me from ESPN Behind Enemy Lines. Bucs and the Panthers coming up in less than an hour over at Raymond James Stadium. And let's talk about one of his favorite receivers, Adam Thielen. There seems to be a really great connection there between those two. Thielen had a really good game against the Buccaneers. He's in line to have another really good game against a banged-up Buccaneer defense. So how do you expect Carolina to attack this Bucs defense today?
Well, without Chuba Hubbard, it's going to be interesting. They're going to start Blackshear, who is more of a receiving type, third down type back. They've also pulled Mike Boone up from the practice squad. So I think Boone to me is more of an every down type player. But I got a feeling that the Panthers will be playing from behind. So you might see a little more Blackshear just because they'll be throwing the ball more. Because they're going to be missing their right tackle and Taylor Moton. And I just think that's going to be a factor. I think the Bucs will be able to throw the ball and run the ball because you saw 236 yards rushing the last time these two teams played. And I think that they'll be – I look for them to jump to an early lead and Panthers will be playing catch-up because, again, without J.C. Horn, their starting cornerback, without their inside linebacker, Jody Jewell, and all the other injuries they have on the defensive side, it's going to be a struggle for them to keep up with this game.
Both teams are banged up, no question about it. So take me back to the overtime game a couple of weeks ago. Carolina thought they had it. Chuba Hubbard fumbled in overtime as they were positioning themselves for a potential game-winning field goal. So what were the Panthers saying after that game, and what were they saying leading up to this game? Are they looking for a little bit of payback, perhaps?
A little bit. I think Chuba probably would have liked to have that opportunity. He made up for it last week when they were headed in overtime, and he had 2 big runs there at the end, including a walk-off 21-yard touchdown to give the Panthers the win over Arizona and knock them out of the playoffs. So I think for any team that's in Carolina's situation right now, and if you can play a little bit of a role in the playoff scenario, I think it kind of give you a little bit of extra pleasure to knock them out if they can. I know Atlanta's still got to play tonight, so that'll factor in as well. But I think there's a little motivation for that.
And you'd mentioned all of the injuries, and they've had a lot of them offensively, also defensively as well. They lost Derek Brown early, which was just a crushing blow. You mentioned J.C. Horn. He's out. Josie Jewell is also out of this game. So give me somebody defensively that has to play a really big role for Carolina today. Who should be watching for?
Wow, I think one of their down linemen again, they haven't been able to stop the run all year. So that's going to be tough. Maybe it's go to the outside linebackers. Maybe Jadeveon Clowney has a big game, and DJ Wanham, if they can put pressure on Baker Mayfield on the edge and at least cause them some problems there. Because, again, they haven't stopped the run all year, so I don't know why they would start doing it today, particularly against a team that they gave up 236 yards to just 3 weeks ago or so.
You can read him at ESPN and ESPN.com. He covers the Carolina Panthers. He's David Newton, Behind Enemy Lines with him. David, we appreciate a few minutes as always. Have a wonderful new year. Thanks.
Same to you. Appreciate it.
You got it. That's David Newton, Behind Enemy Lines with him here on the program. And he doesn't sound too optimistic at all regarding this Carolina defense. And look, the last 7 games, they've allowed almost 200 rushing yards per game on average. The last 7 games. On the season, they are dead last against the run. Josie Jewell out. Derek Brown, they lost him really early in the season. He's probably their best player, period, defensive player or otherwise. So, look, as long as the Buccaneers take care of the ball, the Buccaneers should rush for 200 yards today. They really should. They ran for 236 a couple of weeks ago in Carolina. They should be able to accomplish that here today. You know, you limit Baker Mayfield's pass attempts. You lean on your O-line. You get Mike Evans involved. You get Jalen McMillan involved. He's been really good the last 3 weeks. But, look, the Bucs are going to win this game in the trenches on the backs of their O-linemen and Rachaad White and Bucky Irving. They should have big days. There's really no excuse if they don't. None. All right, coming up, the 3 keys to victory, that's going to be in a matter of moments. When we come back, what can we expect this time around from this matchup? We're going to talk about it. You're going to hear from Todd Bowles right here on your home of the best Bucs coverage. We're getting you set for the Buccaneers and the
can contain the Carolina run game, and the Panthers defense is a massive liability. This is Countdown to Kickoff.
Flex ran to Jay's run now.
Let's get back to TKras on WDAE and streaming live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Oh, we know it's going to be a tough ball game. Went overtime last time. They coached very well. They play very hard. We know what's at stake for us. It doesn't need to be talked about. Everybody understands that. We got to clean up our mistakes, and we got to play an error-free football game.
Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers survived in Carolina a couple of weeks ago. Today, it's the rematch. Buccaneers and the Panthers coming up from Raymond James Stadium. As we welcome you back at this Countdown to Kickoff. Great to have you with us. Tom Krasnick with you. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas and a great holiday, and best wishes for a healthy and happy 2025. We can all use it. So could the Buccaneers. They're fighting for their playoff lives, and you heard Todd Bowles mention it. Oh, we all know what's at stake. We all know what kind of mistakes we're making. You know what? Then fix it. Fix it. Take care of business. Score early and often. There are no more excuses if you're the Buccaneers. You slipped up last week. You lost to a Cowboys team that you probably shouldn't have lost to. And you won a game that you probably should have lost a couple of weeks ago against this Carolina team with Bryce Young playing at a high level. Yes, we just talked about the Carolina defense. They stink. And the Buccaneers should be able to go up and down the field on them all day, every day. But as long as you have a really good quarterback who can elevate the talent of those around him, that's what appears Bryce Young is doing. And he played a good game his first time out between these two teams. 26 of 46, almost 300 yards. He threw a touchdown in that game to Adam Thielen with 30 seconds left. That gave the Panthers a 23-20 lead. And then in the last 30 seconds, look, Baker Mayfield turned it over a couple of times, but he went down the field. He made a big throw to Mike Evans. They set up Chase McLaughlin. He tied the game with no time left on a 51-yard field goal. Let's talk about that guy for a minute, because we talked about the Buccaneers and the strengths and the weaknesses. The one guy who's really been steady all year is Chase McLaughlin. Made a big field goal to tie that game as time expired in Carolina. Made the field goal to win the game in overtime after Anthony Nelson stripped Chuba Hubbard of the football. Chase McLaughlin has been money all year long for the Buccaneers. I don't know about this new punter. I don't think that guy's working out, and Todd Bowles made reference of that. Maybe the Buccaneers should have showed maybe a little bit more restraint and patience with Jake Camarda, but they didn't. They let him go. Now you got this new guy in there, and you better hope special teams doesn't play a factor. I mean, that could be an issue here today. I'm confident in the place kicker. I'm not sure about the punter and the return teams and the coverage units. That's something that bears watching here this afternoon. But, you know, Carolina's going to be looking for a little bit of payback. And if you're the Buccaneers, man, you better take care of your own business and do it, because nobody else is going to feel sorry for you for all the injuries and everything you've been through, and the loss last week in Dallas where the Buccaneers literally had that ball and game ripped away from them by the Dallas Cowboys. Don't let it happen 2 weeks in a row. When we come back, this is one of my favorite segments here on the show, a chance for you to make money. I just put in a parlay through the Hard Rock Bet app based on some projections for this Buccaneers-Panthers game. I'm going to share them with you.
529-2856.
WDAE Rude Air Conditioning Studios, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Streaming on iHeartRadio and live on WDAE. Here's an Around the League update.
And it's brought to you by Rude Air Conditioning, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. 30 minutes and counting until the Buccaneers and the Panthers kick it off at Raymond James Stadium. A lot on the line, as you know. For the Buccaneers, they need a win, and they need some help. Buccaneers, it's not a week if we don't talk about the injuries and who's not playing. Antoine Winfield Jr. out. Chris Izzian, 1 on IR. Cade Otton out. Sterling Shepard out on the offensive side. So more injuries for the Buccaneers to deal with. Shaq Barrett, who just signed over the weekend, he is inactive. He's not ready to play. Maybe next week. And for Carolina, they've got their fair share of injuries too. Running back Chuba Hubbard, placed on IR. He's out. Taylor Moton, right tackle. He's out with an injury. And on the defensive side, J.C. Horn is out too. And that could mean really big things for Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan. And, of course, the Buccaneers need the Commanders to beat the Falcons later on tonight on Sunday Night Football as well. Get reliable cooling and comfort installed by a certified Rude Pro partner. Go to RudeACFlorida.com to schedule service today. That's RudeACFlorida.com, powered locally by Ferguson HVAC.
Countdown to kickoff rolls on. Let's return to your host, Tom Krasnicki, live on WDAE and streaming live on the free iHeartRadio app. What's today's path to victory? Here are the keys to the game. Presented by your Tampa Metropolitan Area YMCA. Live on Countdown to Kickoff.
All right, welcome back. 25 minutes away from kickoff at Ray J between the Buccaneers and the Panthers. Getting you set for that matchup here on Countdown to Kickoff. It is time for today's keys to the game, presented by my guys over at the YMCA. And this is about as simple and as direct as it gets. Number one, the first key to the game, score first. The Buccaneers are 8-1 when they score first this year. When the opponent scores first, 0-6. Need I say more? Can we come out of the gates and have one of those opening drive touchdowns that we've seen the Buccaneers execute about 6 times, maybe 7 times? Score first. You score first, you usually win. Pretty simple, huh? That's number one. Number two, pound the rock. I want you to make the Carolina Panthers bleed. And I don't mean to sound graphic about this, but the Bucs O-line is playing at a really high level. The last time these two teams met, they rushed for 236 yards. The Carolina Panthers, over their last 7 games, they've given up almost 200 yards rushing. They can't stop a nosebleed. You need to make them bleed. What was it? Remember Karate Kid Part 3? It's kind of underrated. A lot of people thought it was bad. But with Terry Silver and John Kreese, Terry Silver asked John Kreese, hey, I'm going to get some revenge on Miyagi and that LaRusso kid. What do you want me to do? And then John Kreese make his knuckles bleed. That's what the Buccaneers need to do. I want to see some blood on the pants of some Carolina Panthers defenders by the end of this game today. I want to see punishment. I want to see you physically impose yourself on this Panthers team. The Bucs should be able to do it. Go out and do it. And their O-line is playing at a high level. Right now, there's no left tackle in football I would rather have than Tristan Wirfs. That's how great that guy is. And Lou Gedeke is playing really well at right tackle. So that's number two. Number three, finish him. Like Karate Kid, sweep the leg, finish him. If a man can't breathe, he can't fight. A lot of Cobra Kai, a lot of Karate Kid references. Punch him in the chop so they can't bleed. They can't breathe. That's what the Buccaneers need to do today. You finish the job. Don't let them up for air. Don't give them any hope for coming back in this game. Get up on them, and then you finish them off. And those are today's keys to the game presented by the YMCA. Find your next goal. Find your next win. Visit TampaYMCA.org to see everything that the Y has to offer. All right, coming up, Who are the X factors for today's game? I'll give you a couple of them, one on offense, one on defense, and that's coming your way next here on Countdown to Kickoff, getting you set for the Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers.
This is Countdown to Kickoff.
Next ran to. Jay, it's a run now.
Now let's get back to TKras live on WDAE and streaming live on the free iHeartRadio app.
I think it's probably the best year I've seen him have since I've been here, and this is my 6th year having him. From coming back in shape to playing hard every week to using his hands more and becoming more of an unstoppable force. He used to just use brute strength without using his technique, and then he gets stuck a few times, but right now he's got the whole gamut working. He drops once or twice when we ask him to drop. He rushes the passer well when they single him. He plays the run. He causes havoc inside, and in between all the records and everything, he's having a heck of a year.
He sure is. That's Todd Bowles with high praise for defensive lineman Vita Vea, who is having a Pro Bowl type of season. What a player. 6 sacks, 9 tackles for losses, which is second with, he's tied with Levante David for second in that category. Kalijah Cansey, believe it or not, has 10 tackles for losses. He leads the team in that category. The inside duo of Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea has been fantastic. Those are your leading 2 sackers. And the Buccaneers are going to need them to be really big today against Bryce Young and company. As we welcome you back at his Countdown to Kickoff. Great to have you with us. About 15 minutes away from kickoff at Ray J between the Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. And I think Vita Vea is an X factor. I think he's going to give this Carolina O-line all they can handle on the defensive side of it. And look, it's going to be one in the trenches, as we all know. On the offensive side, I'm looking at Jalen McMillan, who has really come on strong for the Buccaneers, the rookie 3rd-round pick out of UW, the University of Washington. Last week against the Cowboys, he had the touchdown, 5 catches, 57 yards. He also gave one away. Jordan Lewis ripped the ball out of his hands in the end zone. He's got to learn. Now, you need to have both hands around the ball, especially when you're down in the scoring area, especially in crunch time. And maybe he learns from that experience. But the last 3 games, he has combined for 14 receptions and 57 yards last week, 75 the week before that, 59 yards. That's why I had him on the over on the receiving yards prop on the Hard Rock Bet app. And he's had 4 receiving touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. So I think he's the guy who's going to be an X factor. Mike Evans is going to get a lot of attention from Carolina. Mike is going to get doubled. Just as the Cowboys doubled him last week. They paid a lot of attention to Mike. Carolina will absolutely do that. That's going to give Jalen McMillan some opportunities to win some one-on-one battles down the field. So those are my X factors today. Vita Vea on defense, Jalen McMillan on the offensive side. All right, when we return, we're getting very close now to the kickoff at Ray J between the Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. The Buccaneers now a 10-point favorite in this game. What about the weather? Is that going to play a factor as well?
Margin for error in the NFC South title race. Time is running out. The kick is around the corner. Huddle up because here's the 2-minute warning. Don't give me two. Live on Countdown to Kickoff.
All right, welcome back. Just a few minutes away from the Buccaneers and the Panthers getting it kicked off over at Raymond James Stadium. Must-win game for the Buccaneers. They have to treat this as a playoff game, in essence. It's a 2-minute warning presented by my friend Stephen Julie Weintraub over at the Gold and Diamond Source. The Buccaneers have everything to play for. They slipped up last week against Dallas. They can ill afford to do that here today. Show some sense of urgency. Show it from the opening kick. You know how the Buccaneers operate. When they score first, they win. When they don't, they lose just about every single time. So get off to a fast start, impose your will, lean on this big physical offensive line. You ran the ball right down their throats in the first meeting to the tune of 236 yards. It should be no different this time around. Like if I come back here for the overtime show and the Buccaneers don't rush for at least 180 yards, then that's a problem. A real big problem. And I think we're going to have a lot of problems if the Buccaneers don't win this game today. It would be a disaster. So don't let it happen. I know Bryce Young is playing well, and you can't take him for granted. You can't take this Carolina team for granted. I mean, they're wounded as well. The Buccaneers have their fair share of injuries. No Cade Otton, no Sterling Shepard. That means Jalen McMillan will have to step up opposite Mike Evans. But you got this running game. Rashad White, hold on to the ball. Hold on to it. As if your career depends on it. No more lost fumbles. Feed Bucky Irving. Baker Mayfield, lead this team. Don't make any costly mistakes. And defensively, can we find somebody who can pressure the quarterback? And don't let Bryce Young outside of the pocket, because that's when he becomes dangerous. Look, at the end of the day, I think the Buccaneers should score at least 30-plus points on this Carolina team. There is no excuse for it. You look at what they're doing offensively. Number 3 in total offense. Number 3 in passing offense. Number 7 in rushing offense. Number 5 in scoring, averaging almost 29 points per game. Carolina, next to last in total defense. Dead last in rush defense. They allow an average of 175 yards per game. So you better put 180 to 200 up on the board today in terms of rushing yards against Carolina. Take care of the football, score first, dominate time of possession. If the Buccaneers do that, they should win. They should. Honestly, they should blow this team out. It does scare me a little bit the way Bryce Young is playing. A really good quarterback can obviously keep even the worst of teams in games. And I think Carolina will be hanging around this game more so than they should, because it's the Buccaneers and it's their defense and it's the way the Buccaneers have operated for the last few years. 8-9, 9-8, 8-7. This is what they do. But I think at the end of the day, I think the Buccaneers pull out a win. I'm going with the Buccaneers today. 31-27. Your 2-minute warning presented by the Gold and Diamond Source, serving Tampa Bay since 1984. So there you have it. Now it's up to the Bucs to score first, to score early and often. Take care of business. Don't worry about what's going on the outside. Don't worry about tonight's game. You win tonight's game or today's game, and then you worry about the Falcons and the Commandos coming up tonight. Great job, Derek DeBose on the other side. A reminder, when the Buccaneer-Panthers game ends, come back to us. I'll have the overtime show. My thoughts, locker room reaction, your phone calls. Immediately after the game, come back to us for the overtime show.